Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Craig.
and this is Songwriter's Tales.
It is, and we have another special artist spotlight segment. And this time we're going to reverse, and Mark is going to introduce this next guest because he has known her for quite the while. Take it, Mark.
Yes, today we have the amazing singer-songwriter Jamie O'Neill. And when I say I've known Jamie for a long time, she used to sing demos for me. And she, even then, you knew she was going to be a star. She had such a star quality to her voice and to her delivery. So we are super lucky to get her and super excited to talk to her. So let's do it. Hey, welcome back to Songwriter's Tales. We are here with Jamie O'Neill,
Yeah.
and it is really cool to see you here. You and I actually have a kind of a weird connection. You used to sing demos for me at Lakeside Productions with Steve Thomas
Oh,
many,
wow.
many years ago. And
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, I think I actually was probably one of the last demos you sang before you'd signed your deal. So you kind of and the next
Wow.
thing I know, I'm hearing "There Is No Arizona" all over the radio, and
Yeah.
your career took
The
off from
good
there.
old
So
days.
the good old days, the good old
Yeah.
days.
People sang demos, and I would just run from studio to studio and pitch meetings and doing all that stuff. Demoing songs was so much fun.
So were you staff writing at that time, or were you? It seemed like you were working at a label or something. I can't remember what the story was, but I know you were
No,
all
I
over
never worked in a
town.
label, but at first I wrote for Music Mill with
Oh, okay.
Harold Shedd and Russ Savetson. And then I got a writing deal at EMI. And I was at EMI with Gary Overton, from two I wanna say I probably not well, 1999 is when I sang for Keith Stegall and got my record deal, and at that time, I was writing
Mm-hmm.
for Gary and had been there a couple of years, maybe since '98, and I wrote
That's
with them
probably when. Yeah.
all the way up to about, 2006 or so I mean, I really can't remember, but all my catalog was there, so yeah, for a long time, I was at EMI.
So, we were looking at your bio, and I didn't realize you had so many cuts with other artists. I mean, as a writer. So, talk about that a little bit. I mean,
That
writing for
was
yourself is one thing. Writing for other big artists, is another thing altogether.
yeah, I mean, it was I feel very blessed to have gotten these outside cuts. I remember my first one I wrote with Robin Lee and, Christy Miller at, Big Tractor, I think it was called, Scott Hendricks' place. We wrote this song called "Surrender," and, we demoed it, and at the time, I didn't have a deal, and, somebody played it for Leanne Rimes, and she cut it. That was my first cut. And that was a huge deal for me, and it was so funny because my publisher, at Music Mill, they said, "Oh, we don't wanna demo that song," and then it ended up getting cut, and we demoed it anyway. Even though they said, "We don't wanna demo that, we're not gonna pay for it to be demoed," we cut it anyway, and it got cut, so,
Just
that was the
trust your
first
own
one that
instincts.
Yeah, exactly. How Far is one of those songs that I turned it into my label. And they said, "You can put it on the album, but it's probably not gonna be a single." And I thought the song was really strong, and I felt like it needed to be a single, and so, my other writers, Shay Smith and Ed Hill, who I've written, Somebody's Hero with and a bunch of songs, Pink Guitar that Reba cut, um, they were like, "Let's pitch the song," and who could sing this song? And Martina McBride was the first person we thought of, so we pitched it to Paul Worley and Martina cut it.
That's
Wow.
And
it.
yeah, so it's just like I feel like each time I've had a cut, there's kind of a story behind it and a why and a how. And I mean, everyone has those. Um, and that's just, been an honor for me to have other people cut my songs.
So I have a question. Were you when you went to Nashville, was your plan to be a songwriter or an artist that
An
wrote
artist,
songs?
an artist who
Yeah.
wrote songs.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
I've been singing since I was 8 years old, and it was all I ever wanted to do. I never thought about doing anything else, and it was just anything and everything I needed to do to make it to Nashville, back to Nashville, because I had gone back to Australia and lived for 9 years in my 20s, and I always came back and forth and like visited people and played songs and then left again and went back and because I was touring with Kylie Minogue over there, and we toured all over the world. I
Wow.
was a background singer for her, and I also sang jingles, and I had a band. I played in a cover band, and I was constantly busy. I mean, I did a lot of big jingles like Ford and Kraft and Kodak, and so I made a really good living over there, singing on different things. But my heart was always into coming back to Nashville, getting a record deal, writing the album of my dreams, and, making it, I guess, as they say. So that was always the goal. Was I was always over there kind of temporarily.
So if you were singing for Kylie, who obviously is very pop and very, you know, were you still focused on wanting to be a country singer, or you just wanted to be a singer and just kind of see where it landed?
No, I grew up singing country music, and that was always every time I sang, people would say, "You sound country," and I'd say, "Well, yeah. I mean, I grew up. We opened for the Gatlin Brothers and worked with Ronnie Millsap. We did Pop Goes the Country with Ralph Emery as a family act when I was a kid. Um,
Okay.
and
Okay.
Crystal Gale, Dolly Parton. So we were always in the country music genre growing up, those the fairs and festivals and playing on those stages. And so that was always the goal. But it's just as a singer, I got a lot of side hustle work as a background
Sure.
singer. And that sustained me through wanting to, get somewhere where I could really consistently work on the artist side of things versus just being a working singer.
That's so cool. That's so
So
cool.
we've got like I said, we've got information on you. One of the things that we definitely want to talk about is this new release you've got. And we've got another connection is Kevin Daugherty is an old friend of Mark's and mine,
Mhm.
back,
Oh, that's
oh
so cool.
gosh, and you know what? It's been a while now, Mark, about 30 years, I think.
At
We've
least,
known
yeah.
Kevin. We
Mhm.
were
Wow.
when Mark, yeah, Mark and I were going to the Nashville Songwriters Association International, and Kevin was hosting here in Atlanta where we live. And
Yes.
so we've known Kevin. In fact, I just got off of Kevin, off of Kevin. I didn't just get off of Kevin. I just got off the phone with Kevin.
Yeah, he's
That
such a
was a
good
faux
guy.
pas.
He is a
He's a
He's
great
great
guy.
guy.
he's so,
Great
so
guy.
sweet, so nice and caring, and, it's really cool because I've sung demos for him actually, and he'll give me legal advice,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
he played me some songs. He really wanted to, pitch songs to get on this album, and, he's been, just a great supporter of mine, and he's such a positive guy, and this song, I feel like, is a message of hope. It's like giving hope to people that there can be change, and if we're stronger when we, band together than divide. And so that's what this song is about, it's like we can make a change, you know?
And the title is "Change It Now," is the
Yeah.
title, correct? Do I have that right?
Yeah. Right.
Change It Now.
Yeah.
And we'll have all that information up on this show too, Jamie. We'll have all of that. So
So
Yeah.
Jamie, talk about the first single that you're releasing on this new one. It's one you wrote with Shay and Ed. Is that correct?
Well, they already
Is it
came
called
out.
Old?
I started releasing
Oh,
music
that's right.
last year. I started releasing music in September from this album that's out now, knowing that the timeline was
Mm,
every, month to 6 weeks, we would put a new song out up until the album came out January 23rd. So we
okay.
released Old Heartache first, which the video is, gonna be on TCN coming up really soon.
Cool.
And yeah, and so we did, Old Heartache, and I did write that with Shay and Ed, who were longtime songwriters together. And I just
Mhm.
love them as people and songwriters. There's just no better people and writers than they are. And Old Heartache is really one of those songs that takes you back. Like it feels familiar and nostalgic, I guess. And because it's kind of a throwback to traditional country, that I've really missed. And I feel like we have so many artists doing real
Mm,
country now again. And it's so great to hear, like Zach Top and Ella Langley.
yeah.
And
Hmm.
so yeah, that's what Old Heartache is about. And it's about singing to the entity, of heartache, that hangs around every time your heart gets broken and it won't go away until you meet
Sure.
someone new. So
There's an interesting tie in there. I don't know if you know Rex Benson or not, the songwriter and publisher. He's the one that had, of course, with Kenny Rogers, the "Buy Me a Rose." He was responsible for that connection, and we just had him on the podcast, and we're seeing this reoccurring theme of the older country coming back, and I think that's a normal event with music. It circles back after it runs its course of going astray, and like you say, Zach Tops and so many others coming back to that because it's so much. The depth is there and the quality is there, which is we're excited about that because Mark and I are songwriters and we're kind of excited about that as well. So